Does anyone have questions?
Yes, Your Honor. Ma'am, Ms. Rangel, what's your relationship to Mr. Garza here?
He's my grandson.
What's your position on him being able to see you while he's on probation?
I don't have no reaction. I want him to see me. I want to see him. I love him. He's like my son. I raised him I have him since he was a month old. I love him. I need to see him.
Morning, Judge.
Good morning. Oh, and Attorney Woodard, do you have any objection to me reviewing the court summary? All right, thank you. All right, are there any applications in this case?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, court is calling 2023 CR 11209, State versus Santiago Garza. Can I have parties announced for the record for the state?
Daniel Rutherford for the state.
Defense?
Albert Chidas for Mr. Garza.
And are you Mr. Garza?
Yes, ma'am.
Counsel, have you received all of the discovery? Did you review it with your client?
We did, Judge.
Court will find that the state is in compliance with discovery. Mr. Garza, did you review the document entitled Application for Deferred Adjudication with your attorney?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you understand it and sign it? And counsel, your client is applying for deferred?
He is, Your Honor.
Did you review the true bill of indictment with your attorney?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you understand it?
Yes, ma'am.
Counsel, do you waive the reading of the indictment?
We do, Your Honor.
State, are you proceeding on the indictment as presented?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Garza, did you review the court admonishments with your attorney? Did you understand it and sign it
Yes, ma'am.
in all the appropriate places?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you understand you're charged with assault family household with a previous conviction as a third-degree felony?
Yes, ma'am.
Range of punishment is anywhere from 2 to 10 years in prison and up to a $10,000 fine. Did you understand? If you have a plea with the state, the court does not have to follow your plea. Counsel, if for any reason the court does not follow your plea and gives you more than you bargained for, the fact that you entered a plea will not be used against you and you will be allowed to withdraw your plea. Did you understand? Did you understand you have a right to jury trial? All right, off the record for a moment. On Casamia after I finish with this.
And just FYI, Grandma is on Zoom in the waiting room
Okay,
because we're asking for no harmful or injurious contact.
okay.
She's a complaining witness.
All right, just give me one moment. Let me put this in Odyssey very quickly. Or at least as quickly as Odyssey will allow me. All right, we're back on the record in 2023 CR 11209. All right, do you understand you have a right to jury trial, a right for you or your attorney to cross-examine and confront any witnesses the state would call, and the right to remain silent?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you understand by entering this plea, you were giving up those rights?
Yes, ma'am.
And did you intend to give up those rights and enter into a plea in this case? Did you understand if the court were to grant your application for deferred adjudication, if for any reason your deferred adjudication were revoked, the court could find you guilty and sentence you up to 10 years in prison? Did you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, off the record for a moment. Counsel, if you all have moved down there, just let the deputy know. All right, we're back on the record. Counsel, has your client been able to provide you with any defenses?
He has, Your Honor.
Do you believe he has a rational as well as a factual understanding of the charges against him?
He does.
Do you believe he's currently competent and was legally sane at the time of the offense?
Yes, he is competent, Judge. I
And do you
can't
believe-
speak to his condition at the time because he did have to be rehabilitated to competence.
All right. All right, Mr. Garza, has anyone threatened you, coerced you, or placed you in fear to get you to enter the plea?
No, ma'am.
Anyone promised you anything other than the plea?
No, ma'am.
Are you satisfied with the way you've been represented?
Yes, ma'am.
Are you a U.S. citizen?
Yes, ma'am.
Court will find that defendant has knowingly and voluntarily waived his right to jury trial. Did you review the plea bargain page with your attorney? Did you understand it?
Yes, ma'am.
According to the plea, there's a $200 fine. State recommends deferred adjudication. There's an affirmative finding of family violence. Did you understand with an affirmative finding of family violence, you're not allowed to own or possess any weapons or ammunition?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you understand with an affirmative finding of family violence, you're not allowed to be designated as primary custodial parent?
Yes.
Did you understand that to be your plea? Defense is at the plea?
It is, Your Honor.
State is at the plea?
Yes, sir.
Did you review the waiver of appeal paragraph with your attorney?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you understand it and sign it in both places?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you understand by signing that you're waiving your right to appeal The only items that can be appealed are written pretrial motions that have been filed, heard, and ruled upon by the court. Did you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
Counsel, have there been any such motions?
No, Your Honor.
Outside the agreement, the state is recommending that your community supervision be for a term of 2 years. There be a TAP evaluation, 100 hours of community service restitution, no contact with Rosa Rangel, and you're to be placed with the mental health probation officer. Did you understand those were recommendations from the state and the court does not have to follow those recommendations? Then to the offenses charged, how do you plead? Guilty, not guilty, or no contest? State, any evidence?
State offers a State Exhibit 1 plus attachments.
No objection, Your Honor.
Did you review the document entitled waiver and consent to stipulation of testimony and stipulations with your attorney?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you understand it?
Yes, ma'am.
And did you sign it in all the appropriate places?
Yes, ma'am.
Again, did you understand you have a right to jury trial, a right for you or your attorney to cross-examine and confront any witnesses the state would call and the right to remain silent?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you understand that today the state will be presenting evidence in the form of witnesses' statements and police reports, but most importantly, there'll be no live testimony? Did you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, off the record for a moment. There's an issue with the paperwork. All right, we're back on the record. Court will find that defendant has knowingly and voluntarily waived and consented to stipulation of testimony and stipulations. Court will accept into evidence states exhibits 1 and attachments, and the court will review the same. All right, after reviewing states exhibits 1 and attachments, the court will find there is sufficient evidence to find you guilty. Court will defer finding of guilt as you've applied for deferred adjudication. Are you proceeding with sentencing?
We would, Judge, and we have one issue. The state had initially agreed to no harmful or injurious contact, but they need grandma, who's the complaining witness, to be able to talk to the court and for the court to be able to inquire as to her position. So she's on Zoom and she's ready to address the court on no harmful or injurious contact.
All right. All right, if you all could unmute, please. State, do you have any objection to this witness appearing by video? And Mr. Garza, do you have any objection to this witness appearing by video? I'm sorry? Do you have any objections to her appearing by video? All right. Are you Rosa Rangel?
Yes, yes, ma'am.
All right, can you raise your right hand for me, please? Do you solemnly swear and affirm the testimony you give will be the truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, yes.
All right, you can lower your hand. State your name for the record, please.
Rosa Rangel?
Does anyone have questions?
Yes, Your Honor. Ma'am, Ms. Rangel, what's your relationship to Mr. Garza here?
He's my grandson.
What's your position on him being able to see you while he's on probation?
I don't have no reaction. I want him to see me. I want to see him. I love him. He's like my son. I raised him I have him since he was a month old. I love him. I need to see him.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. I have no further questions, Judge.
All
Thank
right. Any questions from the state?
Yes, just briefly. Do you have any concerns for your safety?
They asked a question, do you have any concerns for your safety?
No, I don't.
So you do understand that if the court were to grant a no harmful and injurious contact with you, if he does hurt you, you would need to report that.
I didn't hear that.
So if there was a no harmful and injurious contact, if he does hurt you, you would need to report that to probation officer. Do you understand that?
Yes, I understand.
Okay, perfect.
Any further questions?
No further questions, Judge.
All right, I have a few questions. Any objection?
No objection, Judge.
All right, so what caused this to happen? What was happening on this day that made him hit you?
I think that because I think that he was like a little bit of yeah, he was having like
All right, so let me stop you right now. Who is in the house with you?
it was me, myself.
Currently, who's in the house with you right now?
Oh, my daughter. I'm
All
his-
right. And what is your relationship? What is her relationship to him?
I'm his aunt.
No. I need you to step aside, miss.
Okay, yes, ma'am.
All right, you're not under oath. All right, Miss Rangel, the person who is in the house with you, what is her name?
Graciela Herrera, she's my daughter.
Graciela what?
Herrera,
All right. And you say that's your daughter?
yes, ma'am.
All right, so I'm assuming she is Mr. Garza's aunt?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, so on this day, why do you think that he became abusive towards you?
I don't know, maybe he was like frustrated or something. And
Frustrated about what?
He needed his medication. He wasn't taking his medication.
And what medication does he take?
For anxiety, I think. I really don't know. Graciela is the one that's she was taking him before. So I
right,
don't
so-
really know.
From what you know, he suffers from anxiety and what else?
And I think depression.
All right, and depression. So has he ever hit you before?
No, ma'am, never.
All right, any other questions?
No questions for this witness, Judge.
All right, thank you. Now let me speak to the person who's with you.
Gracie.
All right, can you raise your right hand for me, please? Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you give will be the truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, you're gonna need to speak up so the court reporter can hear.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, what's your name?
Graciela Herrera.
All right, do either party have any questions for her?
I do, Judge.
Yes.
Ms. Herrera, could you please state your name for the record?
Graciela Herrera.
Ms. Herrera, are you familiar with Santiago's mental health history?
Yes, sir.
Do you, did you used to take him to the doctor?
We had tried for several years to take him to receive help. It was a combination of not being on medication for several years, a progression in his decline in mental health, and just behavioral issues. Previous to this last time he was released from jail, we hadn't understood how to help him with his mental health issues. It wasn't until I did research and then until I was redirected to the San Antonio Health Center that I start to take him for regular visits to a psychiatrist and a therapist and a case manager. He did that of his own volition and will. He asked me to find some resources and I was able to go to the San Antonio Health Center. And that's what he was doing prior to being placed back into jail.
Okay, and so at any time did you, I guess when he saw the psychiatrist, did the psychiatrist prescribe medications?
Yes, I believe he is currently on, man, I'm not at my home, so I don't have all of his list, but I want to say it's like Zoloft and well, I really couldn't give you a list because I'm not in my home. I came over here to do the Zoom meeting, so I don't have all his documents in front of me.
Okay, do you happen to know if they're, not necessarily the name of the medication, but if any of the medications are to stabilize his mood?
Yes, they are. They're for his I believe because he's like borderline, like has like a schizophrenia, and then he has depression, anxiety. He was experiencing like hallucinations at one point and those types of things. But with the medication, I've seen a complete change from the person that he was prior to going into jail originally. This last time. Then, coming out of jail, when we were able to get him on those medications and meet with the psychiatrist, a completely different person, one that I had not seen in almost, 10 years, 12 years, because he's had mental issues since he was a preteen.
Okay, thank you. And are you able to help him if he's on deferred adjudication probation?
Oh, yes, sir. I'm determined and I have been determined to help him get on a better path, help him get on and, try to understand myself, the significance of how much mental illness is, prevalent in him and that he needs constant monitoring, constant, reassurance. And I'm determined with everything in me to, get him on the right path and
Okay.
help him,
And do you know where he's gonna be living if he's on deferred?
He will be with me. I have a room for him. It's all set up. He was living there before. I got him a cell phone so that he can keep contact with whoever he needs to report to. And we were visiting his psychiatrist, his therapist, and his case manager regularly. We had not missed one appointment.
Okay, and your residence, is it the same residence or a separate residence from grandma?
It's a separate, I live on off of
Just one
1649.
second. Stop.
Oh, I
Yes, you don't have to give your address.
Okay.
All right.
I have no further questions. Thank you.
Any further questions?
Just you here. So real quick, you talked about how he was when he wasn't taking his medication in the past. Do you have a plan in place if he's not taking it and there is an episode or something occurs?
Well, I speak with his case manager and I've spoken with the health center and they've given me resources as far as numbers to call in case, there is an episode and the steps that I should be taking. They're not definitive, right? I have several options. I can call, several numbers that they gave me, but I do have the resources as far as the contact information. And, I hope to be able to speak with the psychologist and our psychiatrist to better understand how we could do that. But from the conversations that I've had with my nephew, he seems very determined to keep on the path that he was on prior to this last time being sent back to jail.
You do understand that there is any violence or anything, you can call the police and.
Yes, I understand.
All right. I just have a few questions.
Yes, ma'am.
So does he already have a case manager?
Yes, ma'am, he does.
All right. And are you employed? And the reason why I'm asking, I'm trying to figure out, is he going to have time where he's completely by himself at your house? Or
I work from home for the majority of the week, and partial of that I do go into the office for 2 days. But when I am away, we keep constant communication. I tend to call him often when I'm away from him just to see where he's at, how he's doing, and how his day is gone. So outside of that, I can also put cameras in the home. I don't know, but that's how I monitor him when I'm not away, when I'm not with him.
all right. And so you said he does have a case manager.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Thank you so much for zooming in and giving me some insight into what's going on. And I really do appreciate the fact that you're proactive with his mental health issues. And
Yes,
as a
ma'am.
side note, whose birthday is it?
Oh, my father's birthday is coming up, and it was
Oh,
my
well, tell him I said happy birth month. I believe in
Thank you.
celebrating the entire month.
Thank you.
All right. So if you'll just remain on Zoom.
Okay.
All right. This, Mr. Garza, are you employed or do you receive SSI?
Looking to get my SSI back.
All right. Do you have any children?
No, no.
All right. So you've been on SSI previously?
Yes.
And was that for mental health as well? All right. This is what the court is going to do. The court is going to sentence you to 3 years deferred adjudication. Counsel, if he completes everything early, you can always come back and ask that he be terminated early from probation. And what I can tell you is if there's somebody who's completed everything, probation always sends me updates and I can make a decision on whether or not to terminate you early or not. Okay. There's a $200 fine that will be probated. There's an affirmative finding of family violence. I'm going to want the referral for Center for Healthcare Services. Of course, if you all have a private doctor that he's seen, you can continue with that. There's to be regular reporting by Zoom or in person, regular random UAs. With regards to the UAs, you need to let probation know what medications you are on because some of them give false positives for illegal substances. So you need to let them know. We'll do a MIC evaluation that can be done out of custody. No harmful or injurious contact with Rosa Rangel. 100 hours of community service restitution. I'm gonna order anger management. My main concern is his completing and addressing his mental health issues. So probation, if he completes, well, when he completes anger management, the community service hours will be deemed satisfied. There's to be proof of employment or SSI within 45 days of release, and you ought to reside with your aunt, Miss Herrera. There's going to be field visits 1 time per month. And probation will do it for 4 months just to make sure that his medication is stable. Probation, is there anything else?
The name of the aunt, please.
Griselda Herrera.
Nothing else on my end, Judge.
All right, is there anything else you need from the court to be successful? To the witnesses, is there anything else he needs that can help him be successful on probation?
Just a quick question, as far as the Social Security, prior to him going in there, we were working hard to get his ID, to get those documentation, so we can even have a meeting with the Social Security. I know that you said 45 days, but, is that 45 days just the effort of getting him back on
Well,
Social Security?
here's the
Or?
thing, when I have persons before me who have mental health issues,
Uh-huh.
I've already made a notation on his file that he previously had SSI.
Okay,
All right, so probation knows that he's previously had SSI, and they know it's gonna take some time.
Okay.
But I don't want people to wait 3 months and then all of a sudden they're looking into it. So just provide proof that you're working on that to probation.
yes, ma'am, we'll be proactive. Mhm.
All right. All right, did you review the document entitled Trial Court Certification of Defendant's Rights to Appeal with your attorney? Did you understand it and sign it?
Yes, ma'am.
Because this is a plea bargain agreement, because I followed your plea bargain agreement, and because you waived your right to appeal, you do not have the court's permission to appeal. Because this is an affirmative finding of family violence, you're not allowed to own or possess any weapons or ammunition. If you have a question over what a weapon or ammunition is, you'll need to speak to an attorney. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, we can go off the record. You are supposed to be residing with your aunt, Miss Herrera. You cannot reside anywhere else while you're on probation. If there's some sort of issue that comes up, you need to let your probation officer know. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
So you're not allowed to live with your grandmother. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. And with regards to medications that you take, sometimes people have issues with their medication, the side effects. If there are side effects or they make you feel a certain way that you don't like, you need to let your doctor know. You understand?
Yes, ma'am.
And in this court, communication is key. Talk to your probation officer if there's an issue. If you feel they're not addressing it, you can always come back to court. Your aunt and your grandmother can come back to court. You understand? All right, thank you all.
Thank you.
And counsel, if you'll make sure probation has her address so they can put it in the system.
Yes, sir.
All right, thank you all for appearing.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, Judge.
Getting closer. We do not have